Auckland's impressive multi-ethnic makeup has the potential to virtually fill up every day of my week with some global flavoured offering, indulgence, or food for thought, one way or the other. In the same vein, there's arguably a music event every night somewhere in the city that features world-class talent practically from anywhere in the world. So in this series, as part of the weekly podcast Here Now, I'm chatting with some of those musicians about what sort of musical staple they grew up on in their home countries and how they've brought some of that with them here to New Zealand's music scene. So let's get into it. This is Back to Basics with me, Kadambri. The sound of Brazil, yep, it's unmistakable. Even to the untrained ear, it's an instant invitation into the world of Rio de Janeiro, Bahia Salvador, Carnival and caipirinha. But that's all the good stuff. Some of these sounds actually come from places of struggle and solidarity after an era of slavery. We'll get into all of that shortly. Far from tropical climes, I'm recording this on a rainy winter's day in Auckland, and that's Rio-born Leandro Vasquez playing a classic samba rhythm on the 6-stringed cavaco, or more lovingly called cavaquinho. You'll begin to hear a lot of that in the podcast, the diminutive suffix in Portuguese, essentially anything ending in inho. All right, Leandro Vasquez. Finally, we get you in the studio instead of in the stadium doing capoeira.
Yeah.
Yep, I first got to know Leandro as a capoeira instructor, but he's been on the Auckland music scene for a few years now, and today he's with me in the studio to extol the virtues and his love for the rich and complex universe of Brazilian music. You do so much of both of these things. You play music and you play capoeira and you instruct capoeira. And they're all sort of in some way all linked, aren't they?
Yes, totally linked.
How did you get into playing music to start with?
It's something from my family. It came from my parents. So I grew up with my dad's a writer, he's a composer. My mom was a singer. I grew up going to festivals, music festivals, and watching people singing and playing and rehearsing in my house.
Most people outside of even Brazil, or for that matter, South America, would think of Brazilian music as just samba or bossa nova.
There's so many different things. Brazil is a really, really rich country. The music culture there is huge. It's hard to explain. But
and that's why you're here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Brazilian song is really interesting because we have so many different rhythms, and all the songs has a bit of a different rhythm that could be roots of jongo. Jongo came before samba. We call the jongo is the samba parent, samba mother, samba duro, forró, and inside forró that many things that could be chachado, shot.
Like he says, there's forró, which is an umbrella term for many different rhythms from the northeast of the country, chachado being one of those. And outside of that, there's jongo and of course samba, that does most of the hard work of waving that flag high for Brazilian music globally. But what really came before samba is choro, or chorinho. Choro, which as a noun actually means lament, is an instrumental genre from 19th century Rio, and it's sort of a blend of European sounds like polka and rhythms from Africa. While it sounds like a sad name, the music is mostly upbeat.
It's happened at the same time than jazz. So when Brazilian musicians start to travel around the world for France and US, and there was a big mix, and people think that the jazz influenced choro, but actually I think that it was mutual, because a lot of jazz musicians, they play a lot of Brazilian songs, like Toots Tillemans, Stan Getz, so he recorded 2 albums of full Brazilian songs,
In fact, to a point where people would almost think that Stan Getz was Brazilian because he's so synonymous with that style of music. While musicians around the world have been influenced by Brazilian music like choro or bossa nova, many forms of rhythms and dances that came out of poorer communities in post-abolition Brazil, in fact faced a fair share of suppression and stigma, including samba, the most globally known of them all. Is it true that samba was almost banned at some point in the early 20th century, in the
Yes.
early, 1930s, 1940s?
Yes, it's hard to say almost banned because they try it, but I think they will never been close to finish because there was always a resistance. Yeah, same with capoeira. So there was how can I say, it wasn't allowed. So someone said, "Oh, you're not allowed to do that." So people could find a house that they can play music just for that. It's not something to sell and become rich or make money. It's not about samba. It's about people. It was about black people and poor people just after the end of slavery. So everything that black people did at that time, people tried to say that it wasn't nice. Yeah, the relation with the religion as well. Yeah, because the religion from Africa, like Santeria, related to that. That's a different name in Portuguese. We call candomblé, umbanda. So they try to suppress. Yeah.
The same as what happened with capoeira.
Same with capoeira.
As slavery was abolished in 1888, the concept of blanqueamento, or whitening, became a central aspect of Brazilian national policy, which was aimed to gradually increase the proportion of white Brazilians through European immigration, interracial marriages, and through promoting European cultural values, which meant Afro-origin cultural practices, including things like capoeira and samba, felt the burn.
We imported white people from different countries to try to make Brazil become a white country. Yeah, and it didn't happen. Sorry for these guys, and actually the mix is amazing because that's how these things happen. Is a mix of culture.
Leandro grew up in Rio and was surrounded by all sorts of genres, including Rio funk, or baile funk, which was born in the favelas of the city. With its suggestive dance moves and heavy bass lines, it's faced its fair share of pushback. It's interesting to see what's happening with funk as well when you think about Brazilian funk or Rio funk.
Yeah.
There was also at some point conversations around wanting to ban Rio funk as well. This was probably 2016, 2017. I remember conversations around
much
that.
Early, and the mechanism is always the same. Yeah. So those guys, they don't want to work. They just talking about things that's not nice. They fight and things like that. Yeah. So but actually there was a party in the pool place, so there was nothing else. So when the people start to work together and do something and talking about their own lives, yeah. So it's important, but it's hard when people that we call elite in Brazil. They're not elite, but they're called elite. See people having fun. I don't know what happened. They want to stop those guys. Yeah.
A lot of funk is based on social commentary, right? Same with samba. It started out as commentaries around everyday life and social issues and discrimination and things like this. But to me, what's interesting is also how both these forms of music, samba and funk, the cliched perspective that people have about these two forms of music is very sexualized. It's hyper-sexualized.
Yes. What happened is the way that people dance in Brazil, samba, capoeira, funk, yeah, samba rega, the north of Brazil, music from Bahia, that you see people dancing a lot. The roots is from Africa. They use it a lot, the hips moves. Yeah, like it's happened with Elvis, and they say, "Oh, it's a devil dance." Yeah, and Elvis couldn't move his hips like African people can as a Brazilian, but anyway, it's the same result everywhere. That's what's happened in Brazil. So the funk use a lot of hips move and palm moves and things like that. So I think it's hard to don't think about sexualization. So it's not about who is dancing, but who is watching. When I was teenager was hard to say that I like funk or I like samba. Yeah, it was something like you shouldn't like those things. Yeah,
oh, really?
So the nice things was I like classical music, like polite things. Yeah, considered polite, but I think it's terrible. But that's something really nice that happened with funk, for example. That's something that I mentioned. It's because funk came from drum and bass, and came from people used to say Miami bass. That was when it started to rap and things like that. The beat. I don't know the name of that. Is
You're the musician here.
Yeah. I know the name in Portuguese. American from North America, and it's spread around the road, and it was. So and okay, we start like that in Brazil, and then we start to add our rhythms. So now the Brazilian funk's totally different. But I remember when it started, and it's nice because Brazilian can't just repeat things. We have to put our things in it, and once we start to do it, it becomes something new. Yeah,
that's right. So the carnival is arguably one of Brazil's biggest draw cards, and the culture one of its biggest exports, besides Havaianas, of course. Living in Auckland, Leandro feels the void of not having access to that carnival fervour and frenzy here in New Zealand. But that also means he's faced with opportunities to be an ambassador for that vibe through his gigs and events across the city.
What happened here for me was something really different and interesting because at the carnival weekend, there was nothing happened here. For me, it was crazy. I didn't see people walk on the streets and dancing and play. And I say, why they don't know about carnival? Why they're not celebrating? I can't. It's unbelievable for me, yeah, because it's something that even people who don't like. There are people who don't like. Yeah, not everybody like carnival, but it's impossible in Brazil, anywhere in Brazil, to stay out of carnival.
You'll find Leandro running Sunday samba rodas or sessions across Auckland, usually sitting in a circular way with a bunch of other musicians around a table. And you'll be hard-pressed to find someone not singing along. Almost every song an anthem for Auckland's Brazilians. But Leandro's trying to get his music past just the converted and get more Kiwis curious about the scene.
Oh, I think it's a hard thing to do. I believe that it's much more about experience than studying. What I'm trying to do is give an opportunity to everyone to experience Sunday samba. Yeah, so just go and see what happened. People dancing and playing and sing together and celebrating. Yeah, I think it's important that people know that some different things are happening. And sometimes I feel that it's kind of hard to explain the Brazilian music for someone who doesn't know. And my advice would be just go and try and see, because it's hard to explain, and even if I explain, you can understand something different. Yeah, so the better way to know about these things is just go and have fun and see if you like it or not, and take a chance to have some fun and celebrate and enjoy the same way.
That's Leandro Vasquez talking to me in the first episode of Back to Basics. In the series, I talk to musicians living in Auckland who've come from different parts of the world, bringing with them their musical staple that they grew up on, traditional forms and more modern forms of music. You can follow the series on all your favourite podcast platforms and the RNZ website as well, where you'll find some photographs and videos accompanying each episode. Today's episode was mixed by Ellie Marsden, and my name is Kadambri Raghukumar.